bar recognition. How convenient that term proves to be. For 7 years, I practiced a most particular form of blindness, a willing suspension of disbelief that would make Shakespeare himself applaud. You see, when someone's attention becomes your addiction, when their validation becomes the very air you breathe, the mind becomes a most creative storyteller. She's just stressed. The way she speaks to me, that cutting tone, that casual dismissal, it's not cruelty, it's passion. Oh, how beautifully I wove that narrative, how artfully I explained away each incident. Friends disappearing one by one, invitations ceasing, social circles contracting until it was just her and the echo chamber of my own desperate justifications. They don't understand her like I do. They don't see her complexity, her layers, her depth. Depth. What a fascinating word for manipulation. The ring. My grandmother's ring. Family heirloom passed down through generations of actual love when it vanished from my possession. I told myself, convinced myself, it was misplaced. Surely someone who claimed to love me wouldn't steal from me. Take the one tangible connection to my lineage and then trade it for someone else. But denial is a powerful potion. It numbs everything, even especially the truth. But potions, all potions eventually wear off. Evidence, you see, has a most inconvenient tendency to accumulate like sediment in a cauldron, layer upon layer upon layer, until even the most gifted self-deceiver cannot ignore the pattern. Exhibit A, the phone, always face down, always protected, guarded like the most precious of secrets. When questioned, and oh, how carefully I learned to question, the response was always predictable. You're being paranoid. You're being controlling. You're being crazy. That word, crazy, how liberally it was applied, how casually it was deployed. Whenever I dared to trust my own ops. Exhibit B, the friend, the ones who mysteriously stopped calling, who became unavailable whenever she was mentioned, who would look at me with that particular expression. You know, to one part pity, part fear, part recognition that they were witnessing something wrong, but felt powerless to intervene. I told myself they were jealous, envious of what we had, what we shared, the intensity of our connection. Connection. What a beautiful word for imprisonment. Exhibit C, the gut, that most primitive, most accurate detector of danger. The one that screamed every time she smiled while delivering a particularly cutting remark. Every time she touched me while simultaneously diminishing me. Every time she said, "I love you," while her eyes searched for someone else. 7 years. 7 years of explaining away what my body knew, what my soul recognized, what my mind refused to accept. And then the text, one simple message sent to the wrong person meant for him about me, about how tiresome I'd become, how pathetic, how easy it was to keep me dangling while she explored other options. The evidence, all of it, every single piece, suddenly lined like stars forming a constellation, like ingredients combining in a cauldron, like puzzle pieces clicking into place with that most satisfying and most terrifying sound of recognition. You know what's fascinating about awakening? It's not gradual. It's not a gentle sunrise. It's a lightning strike. A revelation so complete, so devastating, that it actually restructures reality itself. One moment you're living in a carefully constructed fantasy. The next you're staring at the architecture of your own deception. 7 years. 7 years of being molded, shaped, trained like some pathetic creature to accept less. To be grateful for crumbs, to apologize for having needs, for having standard, for having the audacity to expect basic respect. The gaslighting wasn't subtle. It was systematic, methodical. A campaign designed to make me doubt my own perceptions, my own memory, my own sanity. You're remembering it wrong. That never happened. You're being too sensitive. You're imagining things. Each phrase, a small dose of poison administered daily. Until I began to question everything. Until I began to doubt the evidence of my own senses. But do you know what happens when the poison finally stops working? When the spell breaks, when the fog lifts, you see everything. Every manipulation, every lie, every moment of calculated cruelty, all of it simultaneously. Like watching 7 years of footage played back at once, with the sound of your own laughter echoing in the background. The laughter, that's what I remember most. How she would laugh when I expressed pain. How she found my confusion so amusing. How my attempts to understand what was happening provided her with such entertainment. I wasn't her partner. I was her project, her experiment. A fascinating case study in how much psychological torture a human being can endure before they break. But here's what she miscalculated. Here's what she failed to anticipate. I didn't break. No. That simple, complete sentence. No, I will not explain myself to someone who weaponized my explanations. No, I will not justify my boundaries to someone who violated every single one. No, I will not engage with manipulation disguised as communication. The ring, she can keep it. Let it remind her daily of what she destroyed. Let it sit on her finger like a curse, connecting her forever to the moment she chose convenience over character and him. The replacement, the upgrade. Oh, he has no idea what he's inherited, what particular form of suffering awaits him. The same cycle, the same patterns, the same slow, methodical destruction of everything that makes him human. But I am no longer available for that entertainment, no longer accessible for that manipulation, no longer willing to participate in the slow suicide of my own soul. 7 years taught me everything I need to know about manipulation, about gaslighting, about the particular cruelty of those who feed on others' pain, about the sounds someone makes when they laugh at your suffering. But most importantly, it taught me to recognize the early signs, the subtle indicators, red flags that I will never, ever ignore again. Because recognition isn't just about seeing what was. It's about protecting what will be, and I will be.